So we're gonna make a nice quick summer meal using some of the ingredients that we had left over from the weekend, plus some of the ingredients I pulled out of my garden. Very simple and easy and quick. So what I did was I prepared all my ingredients ahead of time, and this makes it easier so that when you're in the middle of sauteing something, which is cooking at a really high heat, at a really fast pace with just a little bit of oil, you're fully prepared and you're not losing control because you're all chopped up already. Okay, so let's just go through the ingredients. This is a mini penne. This is actually a canned diced tomato that's most of the water has been strained out of it. Tomato paste, homegrown purple basil. This is roasted chicken that we had from the weekend. This is shucked corn that we had the night before last night. Just chopped onions, garlic. We're going to start into our sauce. Hot pan, hot oil. So we're preheating the pan until we see it nice and hot. Add some oil. The hot oil part is we want to let that sit for at least 30 seconds so it gets nice and hot. That makes a difference in the way it sears the vegetables and caramelizes it. Of course, if it reaches smoke point, that is really hot. Okay. See, that's not that hot. It didn't sizzle. Okay. We got the sizzle we're looking for. I'm going to add about 3 or 4 cloves of garlic, and the first measurement was about 3 tablespoons of chopped onion. Here's chopped garlic. And then we just stir that in for maybe a minute, minute and a half. And we're looking for a little bit of color. And again, to this, I'm going to add a little crushed pepper also. Not too much, it's hot. But that little bit will add a lot of flavor. And of course, a little bit of butter. It's going to be fairly low in fat, the way we're doing it, but the butter is going to layer a lot of flavor in the beginning. And the smell, this nutty, garlicky smell, mixed with the butter and onions is just intoxicating. Wonderful. Okay, so we got just a little bit of caramelization, and this is where we throw our summer twist into it. This is about a cup of fresh shucked New Jersey white corn. Now that's sizzle. So I'm adding the corn before the tomatoes because the tomatoes have a tremendous amount of moisture on it, and the corn has mostly starch and sugar, so the corn will pick up some color and some caramelization, and then we'll add the tomatoes in and then it'll start to steam. If we did it the other way around, it wouldn't work. So as you can see, it's starting to pick up some nice brown sweetness around the edges here, which is really awesome. You see it's even sticking. That's just the natural sugar in the onions, garlic, and corn caramelizing with the oil. It's wonderful. It's going to add a really nice base. And since I have paste is also less water, so I'm going to throw a little bit of that in there first. And that's going to brown up very quickly, so you kind of got to move fast with that. Like my homemade can opener job, I couldn't find the right can opener, so I literally used like one of those beer openers. Okay, so I'm just going to stir this around really quickly. This is not something that you walk away from, because it'll burn in 30 seconds. So that's just giving it just a little bit of more sweetness, and watch what happens when we throw all this wetness in with these tomatoes. And you get that sizzle again. See that? See that? And what that does is all the flavors go into the moisture and form a sauce. Now this is actually looking a little bit dry, so I'm thinking, I guess a ladle would be the easier way to do that. Oh, I just spilled it. Okay, see? Now that paste and the tomatoes can make a sauce. So let that go. I'm going to even give it a little more so we can reduce it down. Maybe for a few minutes actually. So let all those flavors come together. How's that look so far? pretty exciting. Okay, I was able to grab some beautiful purple basil out of my garden this morning, so we're going to chop that up and throw that into the tomatoes. And this is dry. Okay, the tomatoes have simmered quite a bit in that water that I added, and now you can see there's a little bit of sauce happening in between. Very nice. It's reduced quite a bit. Some of the tomatoes have smashed up. It's looking very good. Replace the water. It's almost ready to boil. We're ready to start putting some final touches on this. This is an old chef's trick, and it matches up with the dish that we're doing. This is chicken base. It can be found in some of the wholesale clubs. You want to look for the kind without MSG, and you want to look for it to be pasty, not dry and powdery. Just a teaspoon stirred up in there, and that'll complement the chicken that we're about to put in. More salt and pepper. We're really going light on the salt because we're going to put some cheese in later. Okay. Now, to make a rose sauce, you got to add a little cream. Don't be scared. I'm not going to put that much in there. It's about a quarter cup right there. I'm going to take it to about a third, not too much. And as you can see, it's a little frozen on top. My fridge was a little cold. Okay. You see that really cream it up and give it some velvetiness. Really, really nice. Okay, we're almost ready to put our pasta water in. And the last ingredient for this dish is going to be the roasted chicken. This is light and dark meat mix. And it's just going to be beautiful in this light. This is a very light cream sauce. Very light. In fact, I'm going to add a little extra liquid to it. I'm going to say this is about a half a cup. Just so it can absorb and cover all the chicken, and just really fold it in. You don't need to keep cooking it. The chicken's fully cooked. And we're waiting on the pasta ready to plate. Okay, we're going to grate a little fresh Parmesan Reggiano, which is part of the reason we held back on so much of the salt earlier, because this is a real salty cheese, but it really finishes it off nicely. Let's see how this tastes. First taste I get is basil, just really strong, and then that creaminess of the sauce and the chicken and the corn. So delicious. Great combo and nice and easy eating for summertime. Cheers.